Hmm. Up, up. Down. What's up, y'all? Good dog, man. What's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Today is the day. Today's the 16th of January, 2026. My name is Evan Strong. I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. You know, it's nice out here. Besides the air quality, the temperature is fairly nice. I'm wearing 3 plus 1 more shirts. I've got 3 long sleeve shirts layered, and then I've got a short sleeve shirt on over it. I'm alternating. We've got one inside out, the other one not, the other one inside out, and the other one not. Except it started with the first one not being inside out. I'm going to explain why, but I want to give that context so you can see throughout this video I am wearing 4 layers. And it's not needed necessarily for the sake of the warmth, you know, that comes from layering clothing where I currently am. It's relatively warm. It's like 40 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's winter in Utah County. This video's title, here under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, one of our fourths, is what? We are a clothing company, okay? That's not the title. We'll get to the title. We are a clothing company, but only because anything that clothes the human being is clothing. Things placed onto the body may not allow the body to work. So our slogan here on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company is allowing the body to work. Okay? What yawning really is. That's the video's title. What yawning really is. What does it mean to yawn? Why do we yawn? What does it really mean to yawn? We'll get into it because it's misunderstood by most. The human body is just a mechanical machine placed onto the earth. The earth's just a rock in space. The human body is just a physical thing. So is clothing. Okay, there's a center line to gravity. There's a center line to the human body. Okay, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw. The jaw stabilizes the entire body. There's a center line to it. Okay. Clothing. Place it on your body and it's not centered. Where's Dante? There he is. You are good. Your body won't be balanced because gravity has the same effect on clothing as it does on our bodies. Clothing physically placed on our bodies alters our body's physical workings. There's a neutral position as well as a center line to everything in the body. Well, it's the same thing as saying there's a centered line. There's a centered line to all the functioning of the body. Rotation-wise, internal rotation or external rotation, all the hinges of the body that go up or down or in or out or whatever you want to say the body does. If it does that, there's only one way the human body could ever do it. There's only one way the human body could ever work. Did I mention? I know I did. Can I re-mention in this video, though, the air quality and how it's pretty rancid here in Utah County on the 16th of January, 2026? This is unreal. Yeah, it's terrible, okay? But we're doing it as we do, blunt, bold, raw, and real in the Image Clothing Company style. Yeah. It's not healthy to breathe this air. So, the body has always been the same. We're designed in the image of Jesus Christ, in the image of God. Our bodies are designed. God had to first look like us to design us in his image, okay? The body's got bones, ligaments, tendons, and muscles that are having it work, causing it to mechanically operate. The human body is just mechanics. That's a video Dante and I filmed here under the main side of The Image Clothing Company. There's just a neutral to every position, and there's opposition from the neutral. Okay? Otherwise, there's no functioning. You have to have two sides to something for it to exist. There's light because there's dark, there's warmth because there's cold, there's opposition in all things. The human body only pulls, a video here under the main side of The Image Clothing Company, filmed in beautiful St. George, Utah. Okay. Hi, Doug. We live up Utah, as in The Image Clothing Company, a lot with the beautiful, diverse nature, a lot with the church history in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. St. George, Utah is the southernmost part of Utah. It's a true desert, red rock, sandstone, beautiful, okay? Dante and I will move down there as soon as we can from today's date 4th, okay? It's the 16th of January, 2026, as I've said a couple times, I know. Okay, in this video, I get it. That's why we do it. We do it as we do it, though, okay? Under the gift of video is how we do it. So much under the gift of video, and always, as in The Image Clothing Company. It's just another date marked documentation. It's so cool because I can speak these words once, and they're permanently documented, and that's great. Because what yawning really is misunderstood if you don't understand. Okay, you can't train the body. It's impossible to train the body. The human body only pulls. We can close a hinge joint by pulling muscles where they connect to bones through tendons at their endpoints. They only pull directly in line, though. The muscles, from the endpoints they're connected to, at immovable bones that are only shaped and lengthed the way that they are. Okay, I am wearing 4 layers. This is not, you know, unintentional. It's very intentionally done for this video on yawning, and I'll explain why. Okay, keeping collars centered, a video under the main side of The Image Clothing Company, a huge focus for human beings and dogs. Why are you sitting like that? Hey, I was just smelling. I was like, what are you doing? You good? You good? He's just like smelling forward, you know? Anyway, The Image Clothing Company Poodles is another 4th to The Image Clothing Company. We let dogs stay natural. The same thing as allowing the body to work here on The Image Clothing Company's main side. But our information applies to all dogs and a lot of animals across the earth. We specialize in purebred standard poodles. Dante's a standard poodle. He's a rescue. Okay. We'll breed purebred standard poodles and show how to do it properly for the health of dogs, furthering good bloodlines of dogs, okay? The importance of pure breeds, keeping less dogs in shelters like Dante the Rescue, okay? And more dogs at homes. You don't have to have animal shelters to even rescue dogs if you can do all you can to never have dogs end up in shelters to begin with. This is what we do under The Image Clothing Company Poodles, but keeping collars centered is huge, okay? There's just 2 sides to things. Opposition, musculature connects on both sides of the body to the center line. Okay, it opposes the center line like the feet. They grip arches inward, opposing the center line from our foundation and keep us vertical. Okay, on Earth's center of gravity. So the arm can also pull to extend the hinge joint of the elbow. We can't push. It's actually not something the body does. Okay, we're pulling muscles together and it's extending a hinge. The hand goes farther from us, but we've pulled the hand away from us. That's really how it happens. So the human body only pulls. Pull to close, pull to open. Same function, 2 sides. Opposing things throughout the body. You know what? The jaw is the shoulder. That's a video under the main side of The Image Clothing Company here. The jaw is directly connected. This is why I'm wearing 4 layers of tops right now. To prove a point. Not to prove a point, but to prove a point. Okay. I could never take any credit for how I could explain how the human body works. I could never decide how the human body works. We didn't design our bodies, we can't decide how they work. We didn't design it, we can't decide it. That's an episode title of The Image Clothing Company podcast. Another one of our 4s, we have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. Our whole company is in the name of God, in the Image Clothing Company, our 5-word company name. We're geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ and all that we do. We have deep discussions on, yes, the gospel of Jesus Christ. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to believe in anything or have any kind of opinion on anything because it doesn't matter. Truth is truth. We can't have opinions on anything unless we're first there to have an opinion. And there can't be anything to have an opinion on unless that thing's first there to have an opinion on. We can't even have a belief until we were first born or existed in some way to believe in something. So where do we come from? Where does it all start? God, okay? We just have deep discussions on life. Deep insights on life is what I give, really, under In the Image Clothing Company podcast. I don't believe in anything. But when you get down to everything and what it really is, that's truth, underlying all the beliefs that could come up or opinions that could come up on top of it. Like this video's title here under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. What yawning really is, we'll explain it. Okay, we're on episode 203 as of today's date of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. Check it out if you'd like to. It's awesome. That's me saying that. But it's awesome. Okay. I'm in this for life. Evan Strong, the founder but leader of In the Image Clothing Company for my entire life. And we do things that apply to you. You don't have to care about clothing. You don't have to care about religion for Jesus Christ to be God, because he is. Where else did you come from? And I'm not asking for an answer. That's what I mean is, don't believe me. Don't believe Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Don't believe any of our team members, including our poodles, right? But human being team members. Don't believe us with what we say, because it doesn't matter if you believe in anything or not. Things are what they are, and that's it. What is yawning, right? What yawning really is. Well, I'm wearing 4 tops, layered, because the jaw is the shoulder. And I want to show what it really means to keep collar centered. And I'm going to explain, don't believe me, what yawning really is, because you're not yawning because you're tired. We can ask this question, why do we yawn? A lot of people would probably say, because you're tired. Well, what does that mean? Because when you think about it, you're not yawning to breathe in air, first off, okay? I mean, you breathe in maybe a little bit of air, maybe you don't even breathe in when you yawn. You're just opening your jaw. Why? And even if you say it's because you're tired, how does that make you less tired? Or why does being tired cause you to just open your jaw? All you're doing is contracting muscles. You know, there's a lot of, there's a lot of videos under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company here about the jaw. The importance of even jaw musculature, eating and drinking with the left hand, really just meaning non-dominant, to keep the body centered, okay? As we're eating, we're just chewing, it's a physical thing, okay? It's kind of a workout in a sense. Don't work out your body, allow it to work, but if you can see what I mean, you're working the muscles of your jaw, you're grinding the teeth down in your mouth. It's natural, it happens, it has to. You're having friction chew down food, well, grind down food through chewing. Your teeth will naturally just wear down over time through friction, okay? What's the truth? What's the truth? Can we get down to the truth? Eating and drinking with the left hand, both hands, there's 2 sides to the body with a centered line on Earth's center of gravity. Okay, there's 2 videos there, here under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company about the jaw. The importance of the corners of the mouth. I mentioned that one, the jaw is the shoulder. We'll get into that. That's the big reason for the 4 tops I'm wearing, okay, in this video. We talk about the ears a lot, okay? The importance of not pushing or pulling on the ears. The importance of even ears, okay? The natural earlobe position. And really the ears are the jaw, okay? The jaw is the shoulder. The way that the hand is the shoulder, locked out at the elbow, they become the same thing, okay? And the foot is the hip. Locked out at the knee, the foot becomes the hip, okay? They do the same thing. Internal and external rotation from the neutral. In the forearms, 2 bones in the forearm, radius and ulna, rotating. Internal, rotating, external. There's just a neutral. It's impossible to train to. From the hand to the shoulder, we lock it out at the elbow. Internal rotation from the neutral. External rotation from the neutral. The neutral is the thumbs pointing straight up in this case, okay? With our elbows at our natural waist, though. When we bend our arms at our elbows, the forearms with the thumbs pointing up, we need to keep our elbows at the natural waist. You always have to keep your elbows at your natural waist. A lot of it's just gravity, you know. The natural waist is above the hip bones, but below those lowest ribs. There's just kind of like this area, not kind of, there is this area where there's no bones on the side of the body till you get into the center line of the spine. right where those elbows sit. The radius and ulna in the forearm meet the humerus or the upper arm, become the elbow. Now we have this hinge joint with rotations at the lower end of it. And there's a neutral. So the lower leg has a neutral, pinky toe straight forward, internal rotation and external rotation. And then the upper leg down to the foot, really up to the hip from the foot. When we lock it out at the knee, there's a neutral, straight forward from the pinky toe, internal rotation and external rotation. We've got different length toes. As we grip an arch, that pinky toe points straight forward. The arches grip in and back because we've got different length toes, okay? It's only one way the human body could ever work. There is only one way the feet work. There is only one way the hands work. A couple videos I filmed back in November of 2025 in beautiful St. George, Utah, under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company here, okay? Before I had Dante, and now I have Dante, okay? Dante's in this for life as well as with me. As well as I am, so is my dog. We'll have a lot of poodles as time progresses. One day Dante will die. But we love our poodles, man. I love poodles personally. As the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, that's why we chose them for our dog fourth of In The Image Clothing Company. The breed of the poodle, purebred, and the standard size specifically, just really meshes with what we do. It's just a great dog breed, okay? Dante's a great dog, specifically, too. Yeah. Okay, so the body, it has neutrals, and it has to reside in its neutrals. We can just say a neutral left to right, standing up, a neutral front to back. Hi, Dante. Because of Earth-centered gravity pull, we just got to stay neutral. You can use that as an explanation on what that means. Just in the center, neutral, center, okay? Natural, neutral, normal, synonyms within the functioning of the bodies. Dogs, human beings, really anything that has motion has to have a center to go on each side of the center line. The jaw is the shoulder. The jaw's got a center to it. That's why we eat and drink with both hands, right? Eating and drinking with the left hand. We keep the jaw centered as it's grinding food down with friction. Wearing those teeth. The teeth have to wear. I mean, you take two rocks, as hard as rocks are, if you just grind things between two rocks, over time the rocks will wear away. That's how the teeth are of the human being, okay? But bones are only shaped the way that they are. We've got this lower jaw bone, okay? The mandible. Starts in front of the ears up here. It comes down and forward. It's our chin, okay? It's where the lower teeth are sitting into. They're connected into a bone. The mandible. It's a hinge. Look at this. There's some videos here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company about the jaw moving. The natural head position, looking down, opposes bad posture. Seen with context is the case. If we pivot and actually physically tilt our head down, not just our eyes, that's actually kind of the opposite thing in a sense. As tilting the head down, looking down with the eyes usually means the head comes up. But the head pivots at the base of the skull and the top of the neck. The neck is 1/3 of the spine, called the cervical spine. The very top of the neck meets into the base of the skull. And as we pivot down, like, you know, looking down with our whole head's motion, that's actually how we get our spine vertical, okay? The natural curve in the spine. Another video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. A lot of this is to do with yawning. That's why I'm saying it, okay? A lot of this is to do with yawning. I'm not going to tell you to go get some more sleep to stop yawning. You don't yawn because you're tired. That's the question that I asked in addition is what's it going to do to open your jaw when you're tired? You know, because you can say, well, you yawn when you're tired. All right, so what you're saying is I contract the muscles of my jaw because I'm tired? Why? What does that do? I mean, if you're just going to contract muscles of something because you're tired, you're not really breathing in, is the point. It's not like you're yawning to take like the biggest breath you can. It looks like it. If you see someone yawn, they just open their jaw really wide. I mean, maybe you're breathing in while you do it, but then what? I'll tell you. you breathe right back out again. You're always breathing. Breath is the essence of human life. It takes the entire body to some degree to stabilize in every single breath we take. We're expanding and contracting our rib cage in 360 degrees if it's unaltered. Okay? Meaning all the way around. The ribs encapsulate the lungs as a cage to protect them. Okay? That's what the ribs are for. So, clothing, it needs to stay on the body, fitting it correct, being centered, and being made in all the ways that we can from 100% natural materials, because there is only natural materials until there's not, okay? Everything was always only natural until we made things unnatural. We live in this unnatural, synthetic, artificial, synonyms with fake, modern man-made world placed onto God's natural earth. We deal with things as human beings that other human beings never could have possibly had to deal with in the past. It wasn't possible. These things didn't exist. We invented them as human beings. Okay? So, the jaw, it's got to stay centered. But if it's stabilizing the entire body, in every breath we take, as well as just in every motion we do physically, because breathing is just a physical thing, that's the point. The physical bones of the ribs actually bend. You know, they connect in the front of the body in the center line at the sternum. They wrap around the body, caging the lungs with rib bones, rib cage, literal wording, the truth of all things, the gospel of Jesus Christ. I don't get to decide truth, neither do you. But we can understand it. So what yawning really is something we can understand. I'm going to explain it here. Don't believe it. This is what it's really coming from. This is why you'd ever yawn. Really. I mean, you could yawn for any reason, but this is why you're yawning. Watch this. The ribs coming around and connecting to the spine in the rear, well, the natural curve of the spine, you know. We can't alter that. Things like tags and clothing. One of our 2 prerequisites under In The Image Clothing Company, in addition to where we just discussed clothing sits baseline for every body who has one, or everyone who has a body, every human being, with this universal human design, skeletal system wise, with just the functioning it has, it could never possibly be trained to do anything. It's just what it is. I mean, bones just connect to each other how they do, or they don't work, okay? Muscles just pull bones directly in line, or they can't. Muscles only pull too, you know? So why are we opening our jaw? What does that mean? Well, why are you yawning? Well, what yawning really is us opening the jaw. There's an explanation, okay? I'm just standing here. My jaw is just at like a normal amount of open as I'm speaking. My jaw is just stabilizing my entire body. My tongue's just resting, you know, light suction to the roof of my mouth, centered in my mouth. The roof of the mouth is just the skull of the human being with a thin layer of flesh over it. Okay? So why are we yawning? Why are you doing this? Maybe you breathe in a little bit, but you're always breathing, just to breathe back out again. What's it going to do for you to take an extra deep breath? Let's say when you yawn, one of the times that you do, you just breathe in so deeply. Oh, why? That doesn't answer the question. If you think it's because you're tired that you're yawning, well, breath doesn't give you more energy. You're always breathing. Every minute you've got a certain normal respiratory rate, right? The human body's only normal. It's something we talk about all the time under In The Image Clothing Company. There's only a normal amount of times you breathe per minute, the amount of times your heart beats per minute at rest, okay? The body's resting temperature, the body's amount of musculature versus fat, the amount of food you can put in your body at once that it can actually do something with without just having to try to get it out of the way, okay? Hydration, there's only a certain amount of liquid the body can really hold at once and retain, okay? Hydration myths, we discussed that under In The Image Clothing Company. Anyway, you good boy, Dante. It's okay. I was just kind of falling backward. Oh, dog. Oh, Dante, dog. You are good. All right. So why are we opening our mouth? Why are you breathing? To oxygenate your blood, okay? Your blood, the circulatory system of the body, gets oxygenated when we breathe. There's little capillaries in the lungs, small little veins, if you will, vessels for blood to go through. And as we breathe, oxygen into the lungs, is just an exchange of gases, okay? Carbon dioxide comes out, oxygen comes in, the body just, changes one into the other. We just fill a void space in the lungs by opening a cavity for air to then come in because of the exchange in pressure between the atmosphere outside of our bodies and the space inside of our lungs. By contracting muscles called diaphragms and opening this space, okay, for air to then just rush into. We can't suck air in, that doesn't happen. It's just an exchange of pressure. Wow, a difference in pressure where the air just exchanges its location, Air meaning, it's carbon dioxide and then it's oxygen, and the plants do it in the opposite way. The plants essentially kind of breathe in carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen, and we breathe in oxygen and out carbon dioxide. So why are you yawning? You're not yawning to sorry, Dante, kind of stepped on him a little bit. You're not yawning to get a big breath in because you're tired. Well, breathing in is not going to make you less tired. You're either breathing or you're not. And if you're not breathing, you're dead. You're always breathing. Just taking a bigger breath doesn't matter either. You're going to breathe it right back out, just to breathe another breath in. Why are we really yawning? Okay, well, we're opening our jaw. What does that do for us? If you're tired and you yawn, if you open your jaw, you're actually working muscles. If you're tired, you probably want to relax your muscles and go to sleep, if you're like physically fatigued. So what does it do for us? Why are you yawning? Don't believe me, what's the truth? Why are we yawning? You can take all the whatever you want to try to stop yawning, okay? You can get more sleep because maybe you think it's because you're tired that you're yawning. You can go to medications, unnatural things probably. Why though? How does that cause you to stop opening your jaw? Why are you opening your jaw so wide at certain times and associating it with being tired? What does that mean? You're just contracting muscles to open the jaw. Why are you doing it? That's not an accusation. It's like, let's get down to it. Let's find the truth. Why are we yawning? What does it mean to yawn? Okay, what yawning really is just pivoting the lower jawbone down, okay? And you're doing it like big, right? Why? Okay, yesterday, Dante and I filmed a video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company titled, "The sternocleidomastoid is in the front and the upper trapezius is in the rear." Okay, the sternocleidomastoid is in the front, the upper trapezius is in the rear. I talked about a couple muscles that are supporting the shoulders vertically. Okay, the upper trapezius is on the rear. From the top of the shoulder blades or scapulas, it comes up to the base of the skull. It also connects along the neck or the cervical spine as it comes up, raises the shoulders from the back. The sternocleidomastoid, it connects from the collarbone or clavicle in the front, and the sternum, this bone in the center line of the body up at the top of it, and then it comes up, barely clears the rear of the lower jawbone. When we're yawning, we're just opening that lower jawbone, okay? But yeah, it barely clears that lower jawbone, and then it connects to the skull right behind the ear on the head, okay? Just this muscle that, even though it starts in the front of the body, it comes up and connects to the rear of the body, right behind the ears. So the shoulders only ever work behind the head. That's a huge focus just in life. Keeping elbows at the natural waist. The elbow is the shoulder, directly connected through the upper arm bone or the humerus. The natural waist is the neutral position, okay, for the elbows. There's a neutral to the height of the shoulders, and what it is the elbows at the natural waist, okay? Clothing's physically placed on us. Oversized clothing, imbalances of any kind in clothing, shoelaces, drawstrings, any kind of ropes introduced to the body, These things get us into chronic patterning in our bodies. Scar tissue builds up, bone spurs build up, and we live in a right-handed world, okay? So with 85% give or take of human beings being right-handed, we get into patterning, where a lot of scar tissue can build up in the body, and we can really be altered. But there's a center line of the body, so you can't just be right-handed and go through life always using your right hand when you have to balance out with Earth's center of gravity, okay? And your body's center line anyway, where the musculature connects into, okay? We've got to oppose the center line. So if the jaw's not opposing the center line, well, that's a problem, okay? The head is on top of the body. It's just this ball of weight. 10 pounds, give or take, of just weight on the very top of everything else in the body when Earth's gravity is affecting the body from the bottom up and the feet are supporting, or whatever your lowest point is, right? You've got an amputation, deformity, birth defect, major surgery, anything like this at all, right? Anything that sets your body apart a little bit or quite a bit. We're all different the ways that we are. We got to do all that we can, though. We really have to do all that we can in all of our individualistic situations to get as close as we can to the universal human design, because of things like breathing with gravity's pull, because of things like the spine that's in the center line of the body and the sternum. You know, the brain stem comes down through the spine. You have to have a spine in some way to some degree. You have to breathe in some way to some degree to be alive, no matter who you are. You know, you have to do all you can to deal with Earth's gravity, okay? The jaw is stabilizing the entire body. What yawning really is just opening the jaw. So why? Why do we do it? Well, if your jaw's not centered, it's going to be stiff, okay? The importance of even jaw musculature, man, I love the way I said that, because that's the point. I hit that hard. That was like a real, like, this is the reason. Your jaw's stiff. There's two sides to the jaw. The jaw has a lot of motion, really. In order for it to stabilize the entire body, the jaw doesn't stabilize the entire body with the teeth closed together. That does not work. The jaw stabilizes the entire body through something that can move. Musculature. The bones don't move. The muscles move the bones of the body. So the bone of the lower jaw is just going to be what it is, unless there's musculature. Unless there's musculature that can move the jaw. It's just a bone connected to the skull through ligaments, I guess, right? Or whatever you want to say. It's just there. What I mean is, it doesn't even really matter for there to be a jawbone unless it can move. And so it's the musculature that moves the jawbone, okay? I mean, it doesn't matter really if you have a skeletal frame. It's all like centered and connected well. If you don't have muscles to move it, you're not going to walk, you're not going to breathe, you're not going to stand, okay? You're not going to yawn without musculature moving your jaw. And if we think we're breathing while we're yawning, sometimes you're breathing in while you're yawning, but that's not why you're yawning. You do it. Well, it's why you're yawning to a degree, because as you breathe, you're really moving things too, as well, right? Also, in addition to the jawbone, things like the rib cage and things like the collarbones and things like the scapulas, which determine the position of the shoulder, okay? The big bones on the upper back are the scapulas, also called shoulder blades. This little bone on the front of the body is the collarbone, also called clavicle. And those two bones determine the position of the shoulder, meeting the upper arm bone or the humerus right at the edge of the shoulder joint. Those three bones come together, okay? That's right where the edge seams of our top sit. This top's inside out, right? Like I'm saying, I alternated inside out to right side in with the 4 shirts I'm wearing to show what it means to have collars be able to stay centered even when you've got 4 layers on. It's almost unheard of in modern day. We've got so many imbalances in clothing keeping collars centered in the Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification, okay? Anything discrepant or different in the circular nature of a collar around our top makes it unnaturally shaped, not circular, circumference, okay? There's a need to have a even collar around your neck. There's a lot of muscles going up through your neck. I love the way I deliver this so much. Oh, am I so grateful. Dante, you're okay. It's okay. He doesn't need to wake up, but I just wanted to acknowledge him. It's a good dog, okay? Yes. The jaw has a lot of muscles coming from underneath it down through the neck, okay, to the collarbone and the ribs and stuff. Yes. The jaw, I mean, in order for it to open, where's the motion coming from? Muscles, okay? There's muscles that move the jaw. Up on the sides of the head, above the ears, clear to the crown of the head. That's what the crown of the head is the insertion for the jaw musculature, actually, okay? And then, yeah, from our lower jaw bone up to our cheekbones and up, in front of the ears here, there's musculature across the whole sides of the skull. Well, not the whole sides of the skull for the jaw necessarily, but where the jaw is, and then up the sides of the skull from there, up above the ears even. There's muscles there for the jaw's motion. From the jawbone, the lower jawbone, down into the collarbone area, the ribs, okay, those upper ribs, there's muscles there for the jaw. The jaw is the shoulder, like I said, that video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. Sorry, Dante. He's just so close to me. He loves to be right by me, and he's like right by me, and I've got clumps of dirt in front of me. I can't step forward any farther without getting on top of him, okay? That's what this camera here is placed on, is a big pile of dirt. The jaw is the shoulder. Watch this, okay? Look, I do this. I show this a lot. I have under In The Image Clothing Company content, okay? Context over content. An episode title of In The Image Clothing Company podcast. We give a lot of context. I mean, don't believe us, but we have such thorough discussions on things, you couldn't possibly dispute it. We don't have an opinion. We preach what we have practiced. We just understand things first, and then we deliver the information. We don't care for anyone to try to care about us or what we're saying because we're saying it. Truth is truth. It's apart from all of us. We all have a jaw, though. You didn't build it. How does it work? Why are we yawning? What yawning really is just opening the jaw. The jaw connects directly to the shoulders. Watch this, okay? See this? See how there's tendons and muscles going from the corner of the lower jawbone or the mandible all the way down to the very edge of the shoulder. I mean, it comes right to the shoulder joint of the three bones there. Okay, look at it. Look at this. It's going through the collar of my top. Okay, In The Image Clothing Company, anything that clothes the human body, like the way God clothes the fields with grass. Okay, anything that clothes the dogs, collars, leashes, harnesses, slip leads. I've got Dante's slip lead right here. We're in a place for where it's safe for him to be off his lead, and he's just a very, very obedient, good dog personally as well. But I'm a good owner in the sense of, in this case, having a slip lead in case of emergency. Okay, we discussed what it really means to be a good owner of dogs under In The Image Clothing Company poodles. Holding leashes naturally so we don't alter our bodies, or slip leads. Slip leads, debunking myths, is a lot of what we do under In The Image Clothing Company and all four sides. People think slip leads are so dangerous. You can kill your dog with anything. Don't kill your dog. Use a slip lead, though, and learn how to do it properly. It's an amazing thing. It's very, very unrestrictive for the dog, physically. You can have the dog be a lot more obedient. Noisy, heavy, imbalanced collars and leashes combos with, play in the leash connecting to the collar. The dog won't even listen as well because there's just distraction. Slip leads are such a direct thing straight to the dog, and they're light, minimal, simplistic. Okay, In The Image Clothing Company's values. I mean, that's what we do. Where's the dog? There he is. He's such a similar color to the dirt. He's apricot, which is like a light tan-ish color, like the dirt right here. So he blends in. Same with all this like grass. We'll be just laying in this natural grass stuff on the side of a mountain, and he's just like almost the same color as it. He's awesome. He kind of looks like a little lamb a lot of the time. So why are we yawning? Dogs do it. That's the point. Dogs also often just yawn, and maybe they're not tired at all, okay? We just think often as human beings that we yawn because we're tired. That's not why you're yawning. because you're not becoming less tired by yawning. That's the point, you know? You're tired. I get the airplane noise, I do. You're tired because you're physically fatigued. You're physically fatigued if your jaw's imbalanced, stabilizing your entire body and having a hard time doing it, and it's stiff. Because one side is just working more than the other side, okay? But clothing's the only thing physically placed on us. I just get like so much louder. The airplanes just fly overhead. Okay, there is a flight school just a few miles away from here. So these little airplanes, they just fly by a lot. It's fine. I could film these videos anywhere. I get it. I know. Okay. But if your collar's not centered, this musculature coming from the lower jawbone down to the edge of the shoulder, I mean, that's a pretty good distance to span. I mean, you know, it's right now me standing here, it's the distance just about exactly from my pinky finger's tip to my thumb tip. Okay, the thumb finger, but right, the thumb's tip. The thumb's not really technically a finger, okay? But that's the distance of one hand from the thumb to the pinky tip, finger-wise and thumb-wise, right? From the lower jawbone to the edge of the shoulder, that's how far that muscle is spanning of the lower jawbone that's connecting to the shoulder. So that's what's crazy about it, is we place clothing on our bodies, okay? Clothing has to just work for the body. There's only one way the human body could ever work. You put clothing on your body that doesn't work the way your body works, your body's not going to work. If I did not have a clothing company, it'd be the exact same thing. Clothing is truly the only fix to human beings' physical problems. At least the physical problems we discuss under In the Image Clothing Company. But how could it not be? It's the only thing that's physically placed onto your physical body. We don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know. I mean, I didn't know any of this stuff until I did. That's the case for everything we know, okay? But it's impossible to train the body to get it to do anything. The only end is allowing God's design of the human being to work, or letting God's design of the dog stay natural. Same thing, just worded differently. Two different sides of In the Image Clothing Company, okay? In the Image Clothing Company poodles, and then the main side here of In the Image Clothing Company. We allow the body to work by letting the jaw stay centered. Letting it stay centered, allowing the body to stay centered at its jaw. We're on Earth's center of gravity. There's no reason we wouldn't be centered. There's centered bone to the body that the musculature is connecting to. There's no reason the body wouldn't work unless there was a reason it couldn't. God designed the body to work. Animals just work. They don't do stretches and workouts the way human beings try to get their body to do something. It's impossible to do. No opinion. It's always been the same. It's not a breakthrough. The understanding is kind of a breakthrough individually. You know, once you start to see it, it's like, oh my goodness, you're right. Gravity's always just pulling straight down on my body. Even if I try to train one way, the gravity still pulls where it pulls. If I try to train the other way, gravity still pulls where it pulls. Yeah, you're never going to overcome gravity's pull if you're standing on Earth, or laying on Earth, or sitting on Earth. It's just what it is. The jaw's in the center, though, stabilizing the entire body. So what yawning really is contracting the musculature of your jaw to open your jaw, okay? I'm going to demonstrate again a yawn. It's just like this, at least, right? You see the collar on my top? Watch this. See the collar on my top moving? Now, can I say it like this? Do you see my 4 tops collars stacked, all moving when I move my jaw, when I yawn? What yawning really is an imbalance in the body. Why? Clothing. It's not an opinion. In the Image Clothing Company, we don't care about opinions. I'm just picturing like my team, right? I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, Evan Strong. That's what I'm saying, is I picture our team down the road. I'm just like, we don't care about your opinions. Oh, we don't, but if you don't know why I'm saying that, you might think I'm being offensive and mean. No, it's because we're trying to get to the truth. I don't care about your opinions because the truth will help you and I both. You've got an opinion on why you're yawning. You take all the supplemental stuff and go to a sleep specialist and, go to a jaw specialist and have surgical procedures done to your jaw or whatever, right? Because you have jaw pain and you're yawning, or you think you're tired, and so you're taking like supplemental things to try to give you more energy because you think the reason you're yawning is because you're needing energy. That's false. There's no opinion. That's why I don't care about your opinions, is because the truth is what we all need. The truth is, the jaw is just a physical thing. How clothing affects speaking. A video here under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. Okay. We talk about eating a lot. Not only eating and drinking with the left hand, really just meaning ambidextrously or with both hands, right? As centered as you can get is as centered as you can get, because gravity is exactly centered with its pull down on your body in its centered line. The jaw's in the center, so we got to stay centered while we eat. That's a huge point. More than just using both hands. Keep the shoulders at an even height, and level of contraction in the musculature is what that means, okay? The human body only pulls. Airplanes Dante, dog, I don't mean to wake you up. You're fine to just sleep. You're okay. All right. It's still noisy. I get it. I mean, it's noisy throughout basically the entire video. I get it, and that's common under In The Image Clothing Company, at least at this time period, okay, but that's fine. It's the 16th of January, 2026. It's just what it is. Well, it's like you're actually here and we're just out where we are and I'm just giving information to you because that's what's happening. I mean, it's documented and permanent under the gift of video. I love it, but that's the understanding you'd need to see why it doesn't really matter if it's noisy. If you can get the information, you can get the information, okay? The wind noise is an episode title of In The Image Clothing Company podcast. It's just natural to have surrounding sounds. It's unnatural to block them all out for a video, okay? So what I'm saying with the jaw is the jaw of the human being is the shoulder. The jaw is the ears. The importance of not pushing or pulling on the ears. We've got a lot of things we place into our ears at this time period. In the past few decades, it's been like this. Things that never could have possibly been something to happen. Technologies we've invented as human beings. There's just a normal shape to the ear. The ear is just the gap between the lower jawbone, okay, the mandible, the rear part of that, and then the skull back there, and really the muscle of the sternocleidomastoid connecting from the skull right behind the ear at the mastoid down to the collarbone or clavicle and the sternum. Like I'm saying, we talked about that earlier here. The sternocleidomastoid at its low end connects in the front, but it still comes up to the rear of the head. Okay. The upper trapezius connects in the rear at the top of the scapula and still comes up to the very, very rear of the head. The shoulders only ever work behind the head. So if your shoulders are ever in front of your body, you've got a misalignment in your jaw musculature. And what you're doing when you're yawning is opening your jaw. When your jaw opens, it comes back. Okay, the natural bite size. A video here under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. If we're eating food, that's what I'm saying. We put a lot of focus on eating under In The Image Clothing Company. Well, even just, the unnatural, artificial, synthetic synonyms with fake materials, if you will, in our clothing, these are in our food as well. It's on the labeling of your food, right? Everything we interact with in life is what it is. A lot of it's very unnatural nowadays, okay? It's new. A lot of what we deal with is just new. A lot of the reason In The Image Clothing Company is needed in modern day is because we have a lot of things that are new. Okay, it's like there's a concrete mixing truck that just came out of basically nowhere. There's this big mound of dirt here. I couldn't see it until I could see it. Noise. It is what it is, and it'll probably be happening for a good few minutes because he's washing out his concrete truck. Well, what did I just say, right? I know what I just said. Let me reiterate. There's a lot of things we deal with nowadays that human beings never had to in the past. Truth is truth. That's what I mean. Why are you yawning? Why are we really yawning? Well, what yawning really is we're trying to get muscles out of the way. The sternocleidomastoid barely clearing the rear of the lower jawbone naturally with a neutral or a natural curve in the spine, the natural curve in the spine, okay? The video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. If it's not there, vertically on Earth's gravity, because the human body has bends, and they're just equally opposing each other. It's mathematics, it's physics, it's just mechanics, it's just what it is. You couldn't possibly train it. The ankles bend backward, the knees bend forward, the hips bend backward, the lower back bends forward, the mid back bends backward, and the upper back, which is really the neck, bends forward. Okay? They oppose each other to keep us vertical on Earth, and it's centered gravity pull. So our jaw has a neutral position. The head has a neutral position on top of the entire body. If we have some water in our lower jaw bone, just inside the lower part of our mouth, and we have our lips slightly parted, which is natural because then the jaw can stabilize the entire body through musculature with the teeth not hitting into each other. Okay? Naturally, the teeth are apart from each other always, even sleeping. Okay? You don't want to lock your teeth together or you don't have any motion in your jaw. So that's the point. If you don't have your teeth just naturally slightly parted in life, and I didn't for years, what you do have at that point is a misalignment. That's what's causing that. You've got a misalignment in musculature of the jaw, and really the musculature of the jaw is the shoulder. That's the point. With me wearing 4 tops. The collar of your top, it has to stay centered. Like I say, you don't have to care to care. You don't have to care at all. Clothing's affecting your body. There's only one way the human body could ever work. You place clothing on it, it's going to damage your body. If it's not placed on your body in the locations of where the hinges are, okay, of the body, the joints of the material and the joints of the body part, the seams of the material and the seams of the body part, or body parts in either case, right? That's what I'm saying. Is if your clothing's imbalanced on your body is damaged. Period and done. You don't have to care in the slightest about fashion, but you've got to have your clothing on your body correct or your body's damaged. Chronically, patterning, right? It takes time. It takes time to build up these patternings in the body. Scar tissue builds up over time when muscles aren't allowed to do their normal workings. The normal muscle functioning isn't nice and limber. Okay, and it stiffens up and turns into scar tissue. Bones get pulled on and we get bone spurs where the tendons that are connecting the musculature to the bones pulls on the bones excessively, and the bones actually grow unnaturally in a different shape than natural. Reshaping bones is a video here under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company Dante and I filmed, just right over here actually, yeah, a few days ago. Give or take a few days ago from today's date, the 16th of January 2026. We can reshape bones only back to their only inline tracking position, because there's only an inline tracking position to bones only shaped the way that they are, and musculature connecting to them through tendons only pulling directly in line. That's all the muscles can do. Okay? There's only one way the human body could ever work. Why are you yawning? What yawning really is an imbalance of musculature supporting the jaw when the jaw is doing all it can within the imbalance to stabilize the entire body. And so we open the jaw to try to realign things, right? I mean, imagine you've got an oversized top. You've got an imbalanced collar. You've got a collar seam in your top, In The Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification. You've got rotated clothing placed on your body, In The Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification. We've got a lot of free modifications. You don't have to purchase In The Image Clothing Company clothing or In The Image Clothing Company dog products to allow your body to work or to let your dog stay natural. We give a lot of free modifications. We're just here to change lives and not sell products. We're also here to sell products. But that's not the focus. It's not. It is not. Never will it be. Okay, no. No. So the jaw will be being pulled on outside of its only center line. There's no opinion to where the center line of the jaw is. The jaw is connected to the skull. The skull is supported bone-wise by the spine. The spine's in the center line of the body, meshing with Earth's center of gravity. Below the spine, there's feet opposing the center of it, gripping arches inward. That's how we're even vertical on Earth. There's no opinion to having to have your jaw centered. I don't care what you care about. Truth is truth. You have to eat with both hands. You have to have your clothing fit you correct. We discuss where clothing fits and sits under In the Image Clothing Company. It's for every body who has one. Everyone has a body. All the human beings out there, there's a universal design of the jaw. Okay? You can have a different jaw, but it's still a center to gravity. And just your body, there has to be, in the ways there has to be. Do you see what I mean? Do you see how this couldn't possibly exclude anybody? Do you see how this isn't possibly a choice? It's not my choice. Certainly not my choice. It's God's design. Jesus Christ designed the body in his image. And so what I'm saying is I'm just laughing. This truck's leaving, you know, which is good. I'm just yelling, you know. I know. You know, if you're hearing me yell. Dante knows, and he's just sleeping through it. That's what I'm saying. It's just what it is. Truth is truth, and the truth is, if you have an imbalanced top item of clothing placed onto your body, your jaw will be imbalanced. As we yawn, this is what's happening. We're moving that lower jawbone, and as it's opening, moving, it's hinging backward and just clearing the sternocleidomastoid muscle right behind it. But also we're just elongating the jaw musculature on the sides of the skull that go up to the crown of the head, crown of the skull, above the ears. When we're yawning, we're also pinching in a natural way, though, but just so you can see what I mean, we'll use the word pinching, the ears. The ears are just the hole between the rear of the lower jawbone and the skull back there. It's just a hole. The ears are just cartilage. It's just a pretty darn firm material. Not quite muscle, not quite bone, cartilage. It's the same type of stuff that's in between the bones so that they have some cushioning and they don't wear out. That's what the ears are made out of, cartilage, okay? So when we yawn, you're pinching the ears between bones, okay? What yawning really is, this video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company, you're trying to get things back into their center line, where they'd always be, placed on Earth's center of gravity. So why aren't they clothing? What's physically placed on you? Anything clothing you? Is clothing you? I mean, glasses even, jewelry. You know, we talk about this, the importance of not pushing or pulling on the ears. Glasses, yeah. Jewelry, yeah. The jaw, yeah, it is the ears. Yawning, you're just opening your jaw. Why? You've got an imbalance and you're trying to straighten it out. Good boy. Who am I yelling at, Dante? Who am I yelling at? Maybe billions of people at one point. You know, right now, a mound of dirt with a cell phone placed on it. So, we have, that's just part of his breakfast. It's still on his snout. You're so good, Dante. You are so good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I love Dante so much, and boy does he know it. He loves me, man. There you go. I was shadowing him. Without a shadow of a doubt, Dante's the best dog I've ever had. He's the first one I've ever had, too. Okay, so that would make sense, regardless. Wow, he's a good dog. That's the point. Is Dante's such a good dog, man. He's amazing. Though, I mean, yeah, even if you're not a dog person, Dante's just a good dog, and you can see that. Dante yawns, you know, imbalanced collars on dogs. Yeah, they're going to be yawning. They've got imbalances in their musculature because they're holding a collar off the ground by their neck all day, if they are, right? That's the point. Or they're on a leash and you're pulling on them, or they're pulling on you. Ideally not. Let's not have that be the case in all the ways we can train out of that behavior, okay? In the Image Clothing Company poodles. And we do stuff like that. Really, we do there, okay? So, okay, holding leashes naturally. I mean, we just got to not alter our bodies. If we've got an imbalance in our shoulders, you've got an imbalance in your jaw, okay? So you'll yawn just to try to, like, straighten things back out again. Because if you're going to be able to open your jaw wide, it's got to clear things that are in its way. And so if there's things in the body's way, that's right. That's what I'm saying. If there's things in the body's way, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's just as real as it could possibly be. If it's true, this is true. This is the point. That's what I mean. It's crazy. Don't believe me. You're standing like this in life, let's say. Well, you'd be standing like this, you know, as in a right-handed patterning as a human being. Yeah, more externally rotated on the right side, forward, dropped, away from the body, jaws off to the right. The jaw is the shoulder. Why are you yawning? Well, because you can open your jaw only if there's nothing in the way. So if you feel like you can't open your jaw, you're like, ah, man, I wish I could open my jaw. Let me try to open it. Yawn! Oh my gosh. And you yawn, not because you're tired, because your body is in such a misalignment, it's fatiguing you. It's not tiredness, it's physical pain. You know, that's why you're yawning, because there's musculature. In the Image Clothing Company, there is musculature, blunt, bold, raw, and real, across the entire skull. Okay, the importance of even eyebrows, the importance of even nostrils, the importance of the corners of the mouth. And then, yeah, when we discussed those videos about the ears too, under In the Image Clothing Company, these are really where posture, if you will, problems are coming from. Because these things will affect the jaw. The jaw's stabilizing the entire body's damaged if the jaw's out of balance. Okay. When you're yawning, we're not just hinging the bone of the lower jaw. The same skin on all of the body is the same skin on all of the body. Okay, Dante. The skin on the top of your head is the same skin on the tip of your toes, the same skin on your fingertips. And between all that, you've got a lot of stuff going on, like muscles connecting to the skin through fascia, okay? Muscles then connect to the bones, and if the bones are out of position, the skin will be pulled on. Wow, okay, take care of your dogs. Poodles, you know, don't let them get their hair too matted up. It'll pull on their skin and cause their bones to create bone spurs. This is true. This is what I mean. In the Image Clothing Company. This is what I mean. In the Image Clothing Company. This is what I mean. This is what we're here to do. We're not just a clothing company. We're only a clothing company to allow the body to work. This is what we do, though. This is the point. This is the thing with yawning. What yawning really is the skin of the whole skull being stretched. The epidermis. It's an organ. It's also a video's title under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company here. Dante and I filmed the epidermis. It's the skin of the whole body. And across the whole skull, if the skin's not balanced, because there's little muscles not only in all the face workings, but across the whole scalp. You know, you can raise your eyebrows, you can wiggle your ears, you should be able to. You should be able to, the way that dogs do, you know, or other animals. They hear something and you can see their ear physically, visually moving. We can do that as well as human beings, you know, as well as the dogs can. Like, we can also do it if the body's unaltered. But if our shoulders are just dropped or imbalanced, so is all the skin across the whole skull, okay? And when you yawn, you're just opening your lower jawbone really wide, okay, excessively big, to try to clear the musculature around it that's kind of in its way. The sternocleidomastoid connects to the collarbone. The collarbone is the shoulder. the collarbone's one of the 3 bones of the shoulder. If the collarbone's out of its position because the shoulders are imbalanced, maybe because your feet traveling up, oh my gosh, yes. And this is the only way you're going to have it happen. The human body can only ever work activated as a whole. It's all there. Everything's got its own individualistic role to play. No compensation can be had because something can't make up for something else's role when they've got an entirely different function. This is all coming from your feet first on Earth's gravity. Why are you yawning? What yawning really is an imbalance, probably coming from your feet or your hands. The importance of the same sized hands. A video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. Remember, the hand is the shoulder. Locked out at the elbow, the hand becomes the shoulder. It's been the shoulder the whole time, but you can just see it when you lock the elbow out straight. It's just a stick, okay? Like the foot to the hip. Good boy, Dante. It's all the same thing. The whole body, though, and the jaw stabilizing all of it. What yawning really is your jaw trying to stabilize all of your body, and some things not allowing it to. Clothing is the only thing physically placed onto your body. Clothing can be anything that clothes your body. That's what I'm saying. In The Image Clothing Company, it's about the body. That's the point. And has been since the very founding. What I'm saying, though, is you're not just opening the lower jaw and just moving a bone, but that's happening through all the muscles that are doing it, and that's a lot. It's a lot of muscles going into the jaw. But it's not just that you're moving the jaw. The feet are stabilizing the jaw. The shoulders are stabilizing the jaw, the core is stabilizing the jaw, the entire body, and then on the other end of it, but the same thing, the jaw is stabilizing the entire body. If it's not centered, we're just trying to get it centered. Let's say you're doing things all day like this in one hand, like looking at you're just for quite a while is what I mean, All day meaning, throughout a lot of your life, you're using just one hand. You're right-handed. In this right-handed world, 85% give or take of human beings are right-handed. So you're just looking down at something in your right hand. I can't open my jaw very wide like this. I have to get my jaw centered to open it really wide because the body is just designed to work, and it works very efficiently, and things only have the amount of room that they need to clear each other centered on Earth's center of gravity. The rear of the lower jawbone barely clears the sternocleidomastoid muscle right behind it, and then it swings back and hinges open, pinching in just a healthy way. That's how we could explain what's happening. The ears between the skull behind the lower jawbone. Okay? The skin of the whole skull, it just has the normal elasticity or motion to it that it does. Like the back of the wrist, you can see you bend your wrist down, the skin has to move. Like the elbow, you bend your elbow, the skin has to move around it. That's the same with the whole skull of the human being. There's skin all across it. And there's musculature that's very thin and small across the entire skull of the human body as well. When you're opening your jaw, you are pulling on the skin of the whole head. I mean, just feel the tension in the corners of your mouth when you yawn really wide. The importance of the corners of the mouth. A video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. I already referenced it in this video, but that's the point. The corners of the mouth have to stay centered. The importance of small utensils. A video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. We can't be cutting into the corners of our mouth or we'll be yawning. What yawning really is an imbalance in musculature going to the jaw. That's coming from the shoulder, it's coming from the ribs, it's coming from the crown of the head down. It's an imbalance, potentially, in the ears. In modern day, we've got things we place into and onto the ears that are just changing their shape. The ears are directly the jaw. They're touching the jaw. They'll do what the jaw does does what the ears do. It will, it does, it is the same thing, okay? So, also, what it is an imbalance in the corners of the mouth, right? That's what yawning really is. An imbalance in the corners of the mouth. You've been eating things and pulling like a utensil, for example, like a fork, a knife, a spoon, unnatural things. You're drinking out of a vessel of some type, a cup, a glass, anything, bottle, okay? And you're not doing it centered. The corners of your mouth are imbalanced. When you yawn, you're just trying to get everything centered again because it's imbalanced. And as you open your mouth really wide, well, it's only going to happen in one position, centered, because there's musculature on both sides of the head. There's bones on both sides of the head. There's musculature connecting the jaw, which is the head, down to the shoulders, down to the ribs, up to the crown of the head, all throughout, okay? The importance of even eyebrows, yeah, I mean, you're always looking off to one direction. You're just training an imbalance. You can't train the body to do anything beneficial. It'll just go away, right? You can work out all you want, gain all the muscle you want to. It goes away once you stop. Back to the human body's only normal. There's only a normal position for the jaw to open. It's centered. So if you're training your body in a twist to squint, right, your eyes closed when it's bright outside, you've got imbalances in musculature on your eyes and all throughout your face, in your ears, wherever it is, on your whole head, right? There's just musculature on and across your whole skull. You're a good boy, Dante. You're a good boy. He's just looking back at me like, is it okay if I'm over here? Yeah, you're a good boy. You are a good boy. So that's why you're yawning, because you're stretching out. Don't stretch your body. Muscles only pull, okay? The human body only pulls, muscles only contract. There's just opposing sides to things. But that's what I mean. There's opposing sides to the human skull. And if it's imbalanced, then when you yawn, you have to have your jaw centered to be able to open it all the way, or it just hits into things. So that's what you're doing when you're yawning, is you're opening your jaw pretty well all the way, or all the way that you can without it being painful, right? And it moves everything into the centered position, or you don't open your jaw. There's things physically in its way. If it's not centered, it won't open. It's a mechanical machine. The human body, it only does what it does, okay? In the Image Clothing Company, here you go, here you go, here we go, giving all our secrets away. They're not secrets, but it's just that we're not like harboring information. We're just here to speak the truth. No opinion. You're not yawning because you're tired. You're physically fatigued, but only because you're not centered. In the case of why yawning's really happening is what I mean. Yeah, you're trying to get your body centered, but you're in an imbalanced top. Even just a seam in one part of the collar of a top is imbalanced. You know, all the musculature going up through your collar that's supporting your jaw is imbalanced. And so you yawn because you have to be centered to yawn, or your jaw will not open. It will not physically open. It'll hit into something, okay? This is what I'm saying. This is the truth. This is the truth of what yawning really is, okay? We'll leave it right there, okay? There's so much I could say. Clothing, okay? It's the only thing physically placed on you. It's the only fix to human beings' physical problems. I don't have an opinion. I do have a clothing company, but I'd say the same things if I didn't have a clothing company, because it's the truth. So we discussed where clothing sits for everybody who has one, or everyone who has a body, every human being. Pants sit entirely above the hips, exactly where my hands are now, okay? My hands are on my waistline of my pants, at the natural waist. They sit slightly higher in the front than the rear, exactly where my pants are now, and my hands are now, okay? My hands are slightly higher in the front than they are in the rear, so are my pants. My hands are actually just on my pants, like I just said, right on the waistband of them. Anyway, yeah, there's only one way the human body could ever work. What I mean is, why I'm like so, focused on that, I guess, is because I didn't mean to put my hands on my hips like this to like show the point of that. I put my hands on my hips, and then I started discussing that. That's just when I did. And that's what I mean. The only way you'll ever put your hands on your hips like this is if your hips can be like this, and your hands. And that's coming from what's physically placed on your hips, your pant waistline. Your hips will do exactly what your pants do, okay? They have to. You're holding your pants off the ground with your hips. Anyway, I know I sound so mean. I'm just loud, But it's the truth, okay? That you don't have to even care, and it doesn't exclude anyone. It's nothing about fashion by any means. There's only one location for your pants to sit, or your body doesn't work. Period. Your hips are the center of everything, up and down. You'll be yawning if your pant waistline's not proper. Oh, that's all I'm gonna say about that for right now, okay? Tops, the seams on top of our shoulders need to sit evenly behind the peak of our shoulders, because gravity, the shoulders only ever work behind the head. Gravity affects the shoulders of our bodies as much as it affects the clothing top of our bodies, and vice versa, right? We know that gravity affects our bodies if we know that gravity affects our bodies, but it's affecting our clothing just as much. And clothing is just being hung on our bodies with gravity pulling down on it all day, okay? I'm gonna fix this. You rarely ever see me, it's not like a prideful thing, but, you know, adjusting my clothing. It's because I'm the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Our slogan on our main site is allowing the body to work. If you're ever adjusting your clothing, that means it's in your way. Your body's not allowed to work. That's the point. Yeah, it's not pride, like, I never adjust my clothing, I'm so much better than you. It's just like, no, that's how I can just stand all day. You can do it too, but it takes a lot of work, actually. A lot of intentionality in a modern man-made world. It's a lot of work. That's why we'll always have good clothing under In The Image Clothing Companies. You don't have to modify things because you have to modify things or your body doesn't work. We discussed it earlier, right? But the edge seams of the tops, they need to be as close as we can get to the edge of the shoulders. It's just where the functionality is. And it's just not gonna function if something's in its way, okay? So that's just how it works. I didn't know this stuff either, man, until I was 24 years old. I'm only 26 years old as of today's date, right? The 16th of January, 2026. Yeah, I mean, you just don't know. I'm not yelling at people like they should know. I'm kind of yelling at the society in general. Like, we, as a collective, should just know. It's crazy that we don't, but I get why we don't. I understand it, and that's a lot of what we discuss, right, with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Under In The Image Clothing Company podcast specifically, you know, we discuss it where we do, but yeah, there specifically. He's going to climb this hill, isn't he? Dante, you're going to go up the dirt hill? You good boy. You are such a pretty dog. So, yeah, removing all tags, like I said in this already, is one of our 2 prerequisites to just not alter the body in addition to where clothing sits, and that's just baseline. We get so in depth with it, with modifications, with just keeping things centered, you know, and materials, angles of things. Stretch goes the opposite direction of the only way muscles work, and stretch didn't even exist until just decades ago from today's date, the 16th of January, 2026. Tags and clothing didn't exist until just decades ago, or tens of years is what that means, right? From today's date, the 16th of January, 2026. A lot of reason why we had to put tags in clothing, just as human beings who ever produced clothing, is because there's unnatural materials that alter the body. They seep into the holes in the body called pores, where the sweat or perspiration comes out, and they poison the body from the inside out. Unnatural, synthetic, artificial. Well, that's fake. The body's only natural. These are poisonous things to the natural body. We're only what we've eaten, otherwise you cannot grow. You can only eat natural things, otherwise it damages your body. It's just what it is, okay? The body has to process unnatural things through it, and it takes energy for that to happen, but then the body doesn't extract any nutrients or benefit from it, so it's just damaging only, okay? Unnatural foods, it's just so common in modern 2026, and going forth, it's only going to get worse. It's been prophesied for thousands of years. All the things that have been is what I mean, and it's just the truth of all things, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Don't believe me, but learn about it. It applies to you as directly as it applies to me, even if you don't want it to, even if you don't believe in it, even if you don't care about it, even if you want it to not be, right? Whatever end you're on, don't be on an end. Find the truth. It always exists and remains. Like what yawning really is, there's no opinion to it. But I just discussed it so thoroughly here that you can tell. There's no possible opinion I could have had on that could matter. You can have all the opinions you want. They don't matter. Neither do mine. It couldn't. There's only truth. That's it, okay? Dante knows. The truth is, if I don't feed Dante, he'll die, right? Just for an example. I mean, it's just what it is, dude. There's just truth to life. Hey, bud. You good boy. You good boy. Okay. I feel like I was saying something else about clothing. I was, because our second prerequisite, well, we're a clothing company. This whole time I've been talking about clothing. Really? Yes, okay. In the Image Clothing Company shoelace technique, that's our second prerequisite under In the Image Clothing Company to not alter the body in addition to where clothing sits, because the feet have a neutral, like the pelvis has a neutral, and they're the same thing, okay? The pelvis is neutral from posteriorly tucking underneath us to rotating anterior or away from us because that's the way the hips already bend. We need to stay vertical on Earth's gravity. The neutral for the hips is the same as the neutral for the feet. It's the surface of the Earth, okay? Horizontal, perpendicular with the vertical pole of gravity, zero drop, the term in shoes. Any brand of shoe, just meaning a shoe that's flat on the bottom, like the planet we walk on, underneath our feet, okay? The arches have to grip. There's only one way they do. The point with the top of the feet is it's half their function. Dorsiflexion is lifting the toes. Top of the feet, the top of the shoe, the shoelacing technique in the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique. We don't own it. You can't. It's just a weave of a rope. But you're weaving ropes across your feet. You got to do it the only way the tendons, ligaments, muscles, and bones in your feet shape naturally when they grip and arch, and they only work how they do. The bones are only shaped the way that they are, and they just have to connect directly, or they don't work. And the whole body's altered because the feet are stabilizing the whole body. And so then you're yawning. I'm not kidding, okay? From heels on shoes. Your jaw's in an unnatural position. You're trying to yawn your jaw back into its normal position. You're trying to yawn your heels back onto the ground. When you're wearing heels on shoes, the body only works one way. It always has, it always will. It's impossible for your body to work with heels on your shoes. I mean, I'm talking the slightest elevation from heel to toe. It'd be from toe to heel, really, coming up as you go back. Anyway, that'll push you forward. Whoa, what's going on? Opposition in all things. This guy knows. He just put his truck in reverse after he drove up and parked first. Maybe he didn't park, but he's, shifted the gear from forward to back. What I'm saying with the feet is, pointing the toes is only half their function. Plantar flexion, that's the ground. Zero drop in the shoe terminology. In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique is dorsiflexion, lifting the toes. It's the top of the feet, okay? So there you go, bro. So let your body work. There's another episode. That guy probably thinks I'm making that face for him. What I'm saying is there's not an episode, that's not what I'm talking about right now. There's another side of In the Image Clothing Company, 4 sides to In the Image Clothing Company. The fourth one to mention in this video, since I've already mentioned the other 3, is what I mean, okay, in here, is In the Image Clothing Company music. We have music that we make. Man, I just don't want that guy thinking I'm like upset with him, because I'm not. I was like making hands at him, and like a face toward him. I was doing it for the video. What I'm discussing here, I was just kind of facing him, but I don't want him to like feel bad. Like I think he's doing something wrong. We do rhythm and poetry, rap, okay, spoken word, music through singing and guitar playing, lyricism, if I didn't already say that. Now I'm just like kind of taken off guard because I just don't want to, make the guy feel bad. He's out here doing his job, and I'm not like trying to get after him, and it looked like maybe that I was. But we show the sizing and setup of guitar on In the Image Clothing Company music to not alter things like the neutral wrist, the natural rounding in our hands, the hand arches or the natural rounding to the hands, okay, the open palm. It correlates with the arches in our feet. They can't be there without the other one. The arches in the feet are altered by anything: shoes, laces, in shoes, tags, in shoes, shoe tongue tabs, okay, insoles in shoes, pant cuffs on the feet. Anyway, whatever it could be altering the feet, it'll alter your hands' natural arches, and they won't be there, okay? So a radius in guitar is a must. I don't care what you think. I don't. I played flat fretboard guitars for a while, and I lived in hell because of it. The hands only ever work round, okay? Yeah. I've got a lot of videos talking about that, okay? The open palm and internal rotation and the pinky finger. Videos about the hands and the whole body. Anyway, In the Image Clothing Company music, man. That's some of what we do there. We've also got fingernails and toenails that we just have to have in daily life. You're going to be yawning all the time. Trying to straighten your body out because you cut your fingernails too short. If you cut your fingernails too short, or your toenails as well, okay? There's a video here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company Dante and I filmed titled The Natural Ankles and the Natural Wrists. It's actually called the Neutral Ankle and the Neutral Wrist, or something just like that. Yeah, that's yes, okay? Because, well, they do the same thing as each other, the ankles and the wrists, okay, like the hands and the feet, like the shoulders and the hips, like the elbows and the knees. There's only one way the human body could ever work. It's just a machine of mechanics, a mechanical machine. The human body is just mechanics, right? If I didn't reference it, that's a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company here. I'm pretty sure I referenced it earlier, but either way, that's the point. Yeah, that's fine to say again, because yeah, we have our fingernails and toenails being the things that back and support the fingers and toes. Otherwise, your natural God-given strength is just taken away by you or whoever it is that cuts them too short, if that's the case. So fully to the tips of the fingers and toes, backing and supporting them, and then cut relatively flat on the tips because there's a neutral. To the wrist, and to the height of the arch in the foot, okay, and the ankle position. That neutral outward curvature traveling up the lower leg to the tip of the, well, yeah, I mean, to the top of the femur socket, right, in the acetabulum of the hips. We can get all talking about what we get all talking about, so let's do it. I'm in this for life. Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Okay, thank you. Today's the 16th of January, 2026, as far as I'm aware, unless it's the 17th. I'm pretty sure it's the 16th. No, I know it is the 16th. I know it is. Anyway, it's Friday. It is the 16th. It is. I know it. I do know that. I know that. So thank you. Dante, come. Good boy. Up. How was your nap, dog? You good? You love it out here? So natural. So are you, dude. Letting dogs stay natural. Watch our poodles under In the Image Clothing Company poodles. They will be always natural dogs. I didn't know how to quite say that because Dante's one of them. And he's a natural dog. That's what I mean. You can see it visually, just how they can work. Like me. That's what I mean. You know, Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. You can just watch my body work. You can watch In the Image Clothing Company's team and their journey through getting out of chronic patterning and scar tissue, which is built up through clothing patterns. It's the only thing physically placed on us, okay? Like I say, but I could never say it too much. It's just the truth. Yeah, okay, that's because that's the point. You'll watch the true transformation, as you have been able to do with me, date marked and documented under the gift of video, under In the Image Clothing Company content of any kind, with our team members. Our poodles, it won't be the same. It won't be a transformation. If we're breeding the poodles, we'll have them, you know, from puppy age all throughout their whole life. But Dante the Rescue, yeah, he's so different now, physically, able to work than he was. Yeah, he can work so much better physically than when I adopted him from the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter, okay? Just a month ago, plus a few days, you know, give or take. Yeah, it's just been a little over a month from today's date back, the 16th of January, 2026. Anyway, that's what yawning really is. You're good, bro, bud, boy. I was gonna say boy. Yeah, you're good, buddy. Dante, dog, you're fine. I'm just yelling over here, okay? Because I'm yelling over things so you can hear, really. I mean, I'm loud where I am anyway, but there's a lot of noise sometimes out here, you know? So, anyway, dude. What happened? Dante? Oh, Dante Dog. You're so good. Oh, gosh. All right, folks and females. Men and women and children alike. All are alike in the eyes of Jesus Christ. Okay. In case you had any question, don't. There's truth to all things. There's a blueprint to it, too. One name, actually. His name is Jesus Christ. The universe has a name is an episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. Actually, yeah, I mean, well, actually just meaning, it doesn't really matter. We do it where we do it. Well, maybe it matters. Maybe that's why I say it right now. I'm saying it. Well, we do a lot of percussion. I do, personally. I do a lot of beatboxing like that. In the Image Clothing Company music, there's a lot to music that we do through In the Image Clothing Company music as one of our fourths. Yeah, we really do. We do a lot with music. Well, I mean, that's the thing. You know, speaking, singing, eating, percussion like that through beatboxing, if you will. This stuff's coming from the jaw, okay? The jaw is eating, breathing, speaking, and stabilizing of the entire body. And what else we could also say the jaw does? It's doing these things. And if it's not allowed to do it centered, you'll yawn. To try to get the jaw to be centered. But if you're within an imbalanced collar and you just yawn, yeah, it's what you're really, oh, yeah. I haven't quite said that like that in this yet. I was saying that earlier before I left the house to come over and film this. That's the thing. You're trying to center your collar by yawning. That's why you're yawning. Well, you're yawning to try to keep your jaw centered, but your jaw would be centered unless there was something not allowing it to. Your collar uncentered around your neck. You're trying to center your collar of your top by yawning. And then gravity pulls it uncentered again if there's any imbalance in it. Or if the tops are not like a cage for your shoulders. You know, we discussed tops being like a cage for the shoulders under In the Image Clothing Company. They just need to lock the shoulders in place, left and right. You know, we could say front to back, but left and right, meaning at the edge of the shoulder seams. Yeah. Well, in the collars, shoot, man. The importance of snug collars. A video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. Yes. That's what I'm saying. I've been doing this. I'm in this. We got around 1,000 videos as of today's date, the 16th of January, 2026. And many of them are like this, you know, an hour plus in length. For the sake of doing it proper. I mean, I'm in this for life, and it's because I can be. You know, if I didn't set it up proper, it wouldn't have worked as proper as it will. That's the truth. Set Up for Success is an episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, you know. Anyway, you'll see people yawn and their jaw will go to the right. They'll go like this. Okay? Because if your shoulders forward and external and dropped, the musculature is just elongated on the right side that's going up to the jaw from the shoulder. It just pulls your jaw off to the right. So that's what I mean. You're just trying to center your jaw. That's why you're yawning. Thank you. Goodbye.